What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Healthy Choices Wellness Corp. It has been a while since I've done a video on it, so I want to go over some of the data points, what's been really affecting it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So HCWC did go down on Friday, 4.83%, 55 cents low, 57 cents the high. We did see very low volume on Friday, so 51,000 shares being traded, 325 is the average, but generally we've been seeing a little bit more of an uptick in volume, and I think a lot of that has to do with more swing trades and things along those lines, because you can kind of see how almost every single day it does seem to be bottoming roughly between that 55 and 60 cents, and then it kind of boosts about a good 5-6% every single time. So making for a very good, interesting type of swing trade opportunity despite the lower volume. When it comes to updates from the company, there has been absolutely nothing. Their last PR was on May the 12th. They did put out quite a few SEC filings, again, since my last video. They put out a 10Q, and just to give you a quick summary of that, they did have about 19.04 million in revenue, which is a 4.4% year-over-year increase. Still breaking the trend a little bit. Over the last couple earnings, they've had some pretty good improvement. So they went from Q2 2024 to Q3, 15.5 to 18.3. And then from there to 19.6, 20.2, 20.2. And then, so it is kind of going down. Cost of revenue, 11.6 compared to last quarter of 12.1. So pretty good as far as that. But this is one thing that I've always brought up time again, that you always have to be very cautious about, and that is their cash and cash equivalents. So they have about 3 million. And last time they did this, they diluted quite a lot, and I don't think it's any coincidence that they did submit some documents kind of pointing to that. So they did submit a S3 that was on November the 4th, and then they did also put out a 8K. So in that 8K right over here, they do kind of hint that they diluted, and that's just to pay off a $2 million note. And this is one thing I've brought up time again. Actually, sorry, to be fully clear, it doesn't say paying off the note. It just says in exchange. So I feel like that was just dilution, because in case you don't know, a lot of the notes in theory have to be paid back with cash. Interest is the convertible side of it. So I do feel that they kind of did a workaround where they kind of did a issuance to pay off the principal. So very sketchy stuff, and I think that kind of signals that they don't really have that much money, and based on what I kind of just showed you vaguely, they don't. So this did occur on October the 24th. Aside from that though, they did submit a S3. So in this S3, they're putting up roughly around 500 million. That's how much they want to dilute through common stock, preferred, and so forth. And so generally, quickly going over here for a second, their market cap is only 8.8 million. And I know some of you might be asking, Cal, why are you even covering this? I used to cover HCMC way back in the day, 2021, 2022, when it was very hyped up. So I've been kind of following it. This is why I do feel rather compelled to give updates. And conveniently, what prompted this video, one random person commented saying, hey, what's an update with HCWC? So it's one of those weird things that people still follow it, despite there really being not that much upside. So my last video was, I think, roughly around March or somewhere around there, and they've been consistently below $1. So this is very telling as well, why a lot of people aren't really worried about stocks on the New York Stock Exchange, only because they don't kick anyone off. Whereas the NASDAQ, they're a little bit more strict, or at least forcing companies to do reverse stock splits. But in theory, HCWC is below the threshold of that $1. And I think as long as New York Stock Exchange sees the company trying to improve, they're okay with that. So the big deal for at least the foreseeable future is $1. But on a side note, this S3 is a shelf offering, so it's good for 3 years. I do believe that the market didn't price this in at all, only because that should have taken the stock down a solid 60-70% at the very bare minimum. But in this document, it does have a lot of major red flags. So, of course, they have a lot of convertible notes and preferred stock. One thing that they did mention in there is that they need the price to appreciate. If not, those preferred stock, and so they have this as a risk and a warning, that those preferred stock is going to cause immediate and substantial dilution to existing holders of Class A common stock. So, of course, just doing the basic math, that's how you would see the stock price go down quite significantly. So there's a lot of red flags that have been very much present. Just oddly enough, people are getting in because of the swing trade type of situation that is happening. And ultimately, popping over here with it at 56 or rounding up to 57 cents and change, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 53 cents is going to be a strong support, followed by 45 cents. 29 cents on the side note has been kind of the 52-week low, but 57, 65, 72, and 76 have been kind of resistance points. Very weak, but still nonetheless very much good swing trade opportunities for purchasing and then exit. So this stock would be a pretty good one if you're wanting to practice, let's say, day trading, swing trading. This one definitely might be one to kind of add to your watch list. But long term, as I've been consistently saying since like 2022, 2021, this stock is like the management is RIP. And the reason why I feel this stock had no hope from the very beginning is management does not own any stock. I did a video way back in the day on why I felt that the management were kind of just scammers, and they've kind of ran a couple of different companies. They receive a lot of stock, so they get Form 4s, so they acquire the stock. They don't purchase anything with their own money, and then they just kind of live off of that kind of acquired shares. And it's unfortunate, right? Because a lot of people probably did get into HCMC and then with the spinoff HCWC in high expectations that they were going to be profitable. Oddly enough, back in 2022, based on the spinoff, part of the projection was that this company was going to be profitable. And from what I can see, there is no hope that they're going to be profitable. It's unfortunate. And on a side note, one very, very big red flag, again, to really warn people not to invest in this stock long term, is that they do not have a website. Yes, you are hearing that correct. A stock on the New York Stock Exchange does not have a functioning website. They still have one under HCMC, but management doesn't really care about this scam or anything. They got their money from HCMC. And so essentially, they're just letting it ride, right? Poor, unfortunate kind of management and whatever else, that's kind of the angle that they're going to play it. So at the end of the day, just doing a very quick update, in my opinion, this stock is only going to be good for just practice day trading, swing trading, but use very, very limited funds, because even though we've seen kind of occasionally a uptick in the volume, it's still, you could get very much trapped. So just be very cautious with that. It's just use this as more of a training exercise, but long term, this stock, I don't see any kind of hope or expectations. One thing I do want to share with you is the latest analyst ratings, and they did come in because of the most recent earnings. So you had two that did come in August. So OpenAI, August the 22nd, did give a 50-cent hold rating. Then you had Maxim, August 20th, and a $2 buy. So I do feel that a lot of firms out there can be paid for ratings, and Maxim, in my opinion, potentially could fall into that category. Not kind of speculating or whatever, but definitely this one, I wouldn't really trust them in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts on HCWC. Do you still own HCMC? And if so, what is your plan for that? So just to give you a quick overview, this is it. Pretty much as low as any OTC stock can go without doing a reverse stock split. This is the history of reverse stock splits that they've done on a side note. So two under HCMC, and both were pretty much back to back, which is crazy. Oh, sorry, that's here. So these are the reverse stock splits. So 2016, 2015, 13, 2010. So potentially you might see one in the foreseeable future, but still not really advantageous to really hold it. So let me know your thoughts. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.